Healing Harmony. Hello, Caroline. How are you today?
I'm fabulous, Beverley. Thank you so much for inviting me here. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you.
And hello, Katie. How are you?
Hi, Beverley. Very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good also. Yes. Sounds like we have the same weather. It's not so sunny.
It's gone really cold suddenly. Again, it's just dropped.
Okay.
Yeah,
So we've got freezing, like ice.
Oh.
I mean, that's standard for January, but you know,
Yeah.
it was a lot nicer before.
Oh, okay. Same at your place, Caroline?
Yeah, it was -6 last night. I was driving home from work and the roads were so slippy and my Land Rover literally skidded across the road, and it never skids because it's a heavy car. So it just goes to show how bad and how sudden. But it's been very wet, so the ice froze and we've had a lot of black ice here. And that is typical for January, but it's been about 12, 13 degrees. It's been very mild, so it feels extraordinarily cold.
Okay, I see. Yeah.
And no sun.
I know, bring the sun. I was walking backwards on my walk earlier because it was trying to poke through through the clouds, and I didn't want to miss any of it. So I'm walking my dog and I'm walking backwards just so I could get some kind of light coast coming in.
That's funny. Well, today we are going to talk about the Great Awakening. This is a big subject. Actually, is the Great Awakening is more like people are getting more spiritual. Nothing to do with religion. People are more aware of what is important. They want to spend more time with family, friends, loved one. They are less attract to money, let's say, like that. When they want to work, if they're going to work, actually, it's not because they want more money, because they realize that the money is not what it is. The more you have, the more you want. The more you want to spend for something, sometimes you don't need it. So they value life differently. That's also that. And I would say that there is a lot of awakening. This time is really globally. So that's the subject of today. So Caroline, you may go ahead and start with what you know about the Great Awakening.
Yeah, I'll start. The point you made there about materialism and financial spending, I'll start with that. As people wake up and they become more spiritually aware, they start to realize that money isn't the be all and end all of life, that it's actually we're moving back to love, really loving each other from the heart, rather than the focus just being on the attainment of money and more materialistic things. That's an inevitable part of the Great Awakening, as we start to realize that love is the driving force in our realm. As humans, that really is the force that links us all. It's not about materialism or the next car or the next holiday or the bigger house. It's about how we help each other, how we uplift each other, how we support each other, how we come together as family and help those who are in crisis. And it's all about love. And that ultimately is part of the Great Awakening. As we become spiritual beings and we get more connected to spirit, we start to understand more that love is the driving force. It's not about materialism. And that's a very, very important aspect of this.
Yes. And Katie, do you have any input on your side?
For the Great Awakening, I feel like it's divine timing, where we sort of wake up to this love frequency and joy, and ascending out of a sort of fear-based programming, if you like. So yeah, raising frequency, learning truths, and disconnecting, like Caroline said, from the material possessions and putting our energy into something that just lifts us and is like has more worth than something that's sort of tangible. So like you said as well, spending more time with sort of family, just working on oneself, a lot of it's sort of inner work to learn to sort of forgive and to go inwards. I mean, there's so many things I want to say. I'm not quite sure where we are on this bit, but I feel in a way over the last 18 months that I've been knocked about quite a bit, because I've realised that a lot of what I have thought for 42 years is actually an illusion. So it's like shattering a lot of beliefs that I had. I was always fairly spiritual, but it's gone up a notch very fast. As I've just been learning and unlearning and then relearning and then spending a lot more time with myself, and a lot of things that as I've awakened more spiritually, a lot of things that didn't really serve me have sort of left my sort of like circle of friends, let's say, or clients, but I don't feel like that's a loss at all. I actually feel like that's a gain, because it's given me more space.
Exactly. And I believe also because there is people who were awake like 20 years ago, long time ago. I think about, I think his name is David Icke.
Yes.
He was already, talking about things. And since the past 3 years, I would say, with everything that happened, with the health issue that we all experience globally, I believe that people are starting to ask questions, to say, wait a minute, why we are doing this? For what purpose? Because there is nothing changed. The consequence is the same. So I believe that's also a big, that was a big help for people to be awake, and start to ask questions, to say what we are doing this. And they open their eyes, and they are less watching TV, I will say, less watching the news, because they realize that some information that they are saying, other people on the other side of the globe are telling them that, well, we are here, and it's not what the I would say the media is saying. So for the people who start this, like the dark side, they forgot that we have, at the time where there is technology, we have WhatsApp, we have, video. So people can share, the real information. So I would say that was really a big awakening. There's still people who still believe and watch TV, and that's okay. It will be their own time to awake.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really helped. I've traveled a lot extensively over the last 20 years, working in Asia as well, Goa. I've lived in Thailand, and I've got many of my very close friends are living abroad. And I do resonate with what you just said, Beverley. I was able to kind of join some dots, that things didn't quite make sense. I was able to confirm with a lot of people that I knew abroad, and that's been really helpful. Unfortunately, in a way, a lot of my awake friends are not in this country. I've got some, but they're not here.
Yeah, we are spread.
Australia and Thailand, but I've got Caroline, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, I have you, because otherwise, and Katie, especially being in the UK, it would be very difficult otherwise if we weren't communicating with people who understand what's happening. But there have been a lot of protests in the UK. They don't often get televised on the news, but there are a huge concerted amount of people who are willing to come out and tell the truth and share the truth about what's going on in the world to try and wake everybody up. And so if you are starting to question the mainstream narrative that you're seeing on the media, on the TV, in the newspapers, then the best thing to do is go out and start chatting to other people and see what they're thinking and feeling, and start to confirm that everything the politicians and the media are telling you may not be the absolute truth about what's going on, and that there is another perspective, and be open to it. Don't close off to it. I would suggest be open to it and try and understand why and the passions behind these people who are willing to protest over this, because there is an extraordinary amount of hidden truth that you need to learn, really, if you're going through this great awakening process. And bear in mind, there are different aspects to it. What's happened globally over the past 4 years has been a catalyst, really, as our planet moves through this point in time and space in order to start awakening everybody. And what that's doing is that not only giving us more truth that we're sharing with each other, not in the mainstream news, but it's also allowing us to become more spiritually aware of our spiritual connection from each other. And we're really moving out of duality back into love in the spiritual sense. That means as we start to learn more truth about what's happening on our planet, we're also starting to clear out the lies and the past sort of lower emotions of fear and pain and anger and hate. And when we clear those out, that allows us to ascend further. So the Great Awakening really goes hand in hand with ascension in many respects. I think knowing the truth is light, it's information, it's awareness, and they're all in essence the same thing. It's lies that are quite often perpetuated in the mainstream media are not on firm foundations, and when you really start to investigate the truth, they sort of fall away, and you're left, as Katie says, questioning what you may have believed for many, many years, because you're suddenly starting to realize that what you're told wasn't in fact the full truth. And that is part of the Great Awakening. It's questioning everything, questioning the narrative, questioning what you know, looking around you and seeing that what you're being told is not what you're seeing in reality about what's going on. So
That's
different.
Yeah. So true. And I've got a 12-year-old, and sending him to school, and while I'm unlearning and learning and relearning and sort of being very open-minded, but then at the same time sort of sending my son to school, and then he's learning things that I now know are not true and that I was taught at school, and it's almost just like things have just been regurgitated and then amplified in mainstream media or through television programs and things like this. And thankfully I've got an awake son through his own who calls things a lot of subliminal propaganda, and he can question, but it must be very hard for him or for others being in that environment where you just understand that you're being taught things that aren't correct, or that just do not, or not correct for you, just do not resonate whatsoever. So I've got a lot of respect for people that are sort of waking up and questioning, because it's not easy. It's actually really it's really hard. It's not a comfortable journey at all. It's
not.
We've got to really strip away everything and just, like Caroline said, just question after question, and then really release all that cognitive dissonance, because you can't just sort of question and then learn something and then stop there. You need to go and go, and I think this is often why people, when they are awakening, spend a lot of time on their own, because there's so much to go through, and it's almost I think it can be a little bit addictive. You just want to keep digging, because nobody can really tell you. You've got to sort of find it yourself, if that makes sense.
Yes, and it helps you also awake and grow when you do your own process of researching.
This is why you have to question and seek the answers yourself. If you were told everything, that's exactly the same as what Katie was saying about they just tell you at school and expect you to parrot fashion. You're not learning. You're not, well, the education means educare, it means to draw out. So that's what education should be. You should be drawing out the truth from going within so that you understand the knowledge, rather than just being told and expected to repeat it out loud. And that's a form of brainwashing in essence, which is where we've all been for many years until you go through the Great Awakening process. But it is life-shattering in many ways. You find out one truth and something is not what you expected, and that leads you to another truth. We call this going down a rabbit hole, and you find out information about one area, then you're on to the next, and then you're on to the next, and each time you're having greater revelation as we go through revelation after revelation after revelation, as the veil is drawn back and you start to understand the truth about what is happening in the world. And that is what the Great Awakening is about. It's not just happening in our countries, it's happening all over the world on a huge universal scale. And it is a revolution of consciousness. It's the revolution of consciousness where love comes back and suppression and fear and anger go, and it's replaced by something higher and better that serves all of humanity. But in order to get there, we all each individually have to make that journey for ourselves. No one can do it for you. So it's a global consciousness movement done by many, many individuals.
I agree. And that's also sometimes when you do it actually by yourself, but a lot of us lost some friends, lost some people around us because they don't see they don't understand what we are talking about, because we are programmed since a young age that there is people who decide for us. But I remember when I was young, I would always ask, who is that person to say that what he says is right, you know? And because he's like me, he's a human like me. So why does he have that power to say he's right about, okay, you need to do this, you need to do that? Or we don't have to just accept what others saying. Even with our video, people can make their own research. If it doesn't resonate with you, go and make your own research, and you will find out. It's just the way it is at this moment.
Yeah, I agree. It's so difficult because what we've done is given our sovereignty away to false idols, such as governments, such as people that tell us what to do at school, in our bosses at work, everybody.
Yeah.
Give control away. And rather than saying, hang on a minute, who are you to tell me what to think and how to live and what to take and what to wear and how to be? That's on me. I'm going to sort of start questioning what you're saying, and I'm going to learn and take back my autonomous sovereignty. In essence, we are God's sovereign free beings. We have our own power. But in order to step into it, you have to start questioning what you're and if you are just automatically doing everything a doctor says and everything the paper says and everything the news says and everything your TV says, then you've been so successfully brainwashed that you probably haven't even realized this is what they're doing to you. And they do this via frequencies that come out of your TV, out of the words on the page and out of the radio. And the frequencies affect your brain, which is also electromagnetic. So it works on a very subconscious level. But what's happening is this planet goes through a certain specific point in space and time. It's helping us to alleviate those frequencies. And we've had some help from above in order to be able to break free, if you like, from this programming and start to see the truth now. And it's not just one of us or a few of us or the strange ones or the black sheeps of the family. It's everybody now that's getting to realize slowly but surely that we are ascending. And it's just wonderful to see everybody waking up. Wonderful.
Yes. And also when you were talking about frequency, Caroline, is also the way we eat.
Yes.
It's always also the way we eat, because some foods are really low frequency, and the soda, well, I won't, the things you drink, the soda, the fast food and everything. That's, I would say that's really low vibration.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, you've got the microwaves as well that was sort of came in from 1955, which just basically nukes any vibration out of the food that we're eating. I think a lot of people, even if they're not waking up to, there's different stages, different levels of awakening, and we've got to awaken on many different ways. But I think a lot of people are waking up to what's in our food, and there are lots more farmers markets, certainly in England. I do see that people are more conscious of what they are eating, and even kids as well. Obviously, there's still a lot of sweets around and things like that, which is very acidic and causes dis-ease. But I do see a sort of a shift, more juice bars, but more vibrant foods that people are sort of drawn to, and a lot more people growing their own again, which is just going to be an easy way and a much cheaper way, a much cleaner way that we can get these high vibe foods in.
Yeah, we've got so many poisons in our food. It's crazy. That sugars, and as Beverley mentioned, in sodas, they are poisonous. And not only that, if you actually research the ingredients in a lot of your food, a lot of them are poisonous. Like aspartame, for example, it's in squashes. Well, that's rat poison. Do you really want to be drinking that? Question, and research. There are so many chemicals and toxins and poisons, and metals in food, that it's crazy. Even if you're eating what you think is natural, it's probably an apple, say, it's going to be waxed, it's going to be pesticided. Monsanto probably have sprayed it with something in the growing process. So you have to be so careful with what you eat. So, and drinking as well. But people are waking up to this now. It's great. The information is on the internet. So if you want to do any research, get your products, get your ingredients, type the names of them into Google or whatever search engine you use, and actually see what you are starting to drink, and think to yourself, well, is this doing me any good? Or is this the reason I'm, getting headaches maybe, or feeling ill? Is it actually poisons in my food? And that's part of it, because then when you realize that's happening to you, you start to say, well, hang on a minute, why am I being sold these poisons? And that leads you to another avenue of research. And so the bigger picture starts to come to you slowly but surely. And as whatever avenue you take to get into full understanding of the true picture of what's going on, this is how we start, by questioning what we eat and what's happening, and the reality that we're being told is the truth when perhaps it isn't. And this is all part of the Great Awakening, really. But I agree, there's a general shift in consciousness towards healthy eating, more photonic foods with sunlight energy, such as whole vegan foods, fruits and vegetables. And those that are awake are aware of the lower frequency foods.
And a lot of people also start questioning the natural healing, the medicine. The more and more people are starting to shift and to let go of the medicine, because they forget to see the side effects that one can bring, because natural healing has been here for ages and ages. If you see the indigenous people or people who are living still in the forest, like in Africa, in Asia, they don't have medicine. They treat themselves with the leaves that, they know how to treat it. So more and more people are going to that direction. I know for myself, I don't like medicine since I was a young child. So I always heal myself with homeopathic, or everything is natural. If I have a cough, we have ginger, we have honey. You use all that and you are okay. And now, of course, I use the energy healing with the Reiki. So that helps also. There is so many options today, and only people are afraid because they think it's, like a witches, sorcerer. So they are afraid to use it, but they shouldn't be.
Well, I completely agree. I started, my passion for holistic medicine began when I was about 15 years old. I don't think it helped that it was called alternative. It was almost branded alternative. Like if you're going to not go with the mainstream sort of Western medicine, then you're alternative. So you're already being, put in a box or branded that you're different. And then it came a bit more full circle and started to be called complementary medicine. Okay, so you can use it alongside, but again, it's been here. I mean, massage is the oldest form of healing. You knock yourself and you would rub yourself to bring blood into the area and to soothe yourself. That's what you do if your child, falls over. Acupuncture and homeopathy has been around for so long that it's almost been demonized a bit, that you are different if you use something that actually has been around, for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, very, very successfully. I do also think that there has been a lot more interest in these complementary therapies, and even sort of insurance companies have started to add them into, or if not insurance, but if you've got health insurance, then you can access some of these modalities, whereas sort of 10-15 years ago you couldn't. So I think that's another plus. People don't always just want to go and get what really is, it's like maybe a quick fix, but is putting a plaster over an issue and not actually treating the deep cause. So these things can then just keep coming back. And as you mentioned about side effects, well, they're not really even side effects, they're effects of. It's just not the desired one that you're after by taking this certain pharmaceutical. So, your effect is this, that's what you want, but the side effects are there, but they are effects, like dizziness, fainting, loss of balance. So it's always good to, like Caroline was saying, reading what is in the list of in your foods that you buy, like in the medicines that you've got as well. And something like homeopathy is so pure and it's been diluted so much but it's the one thing that you need. It's specific.
Yeah, pharmaceuticals are, as Katie said, they have a lot of side effects for people. They might treat one thing specifically, but the other 10 things might not do you any good in the longer term. So you have to be very aware that also, as well as not perhaps healing you in the longer term in the desired way and actually causing more problems for you further down the line, they're also a form of enormous profit for the companies that make them. And this is why they like us to use them, because they become very wealthy out of it. So there is another sort of aspect to the whole sort of pharmaceutical company. And I'm not saying you ditch pharmaceuticals tomorrow if you're on them by any. Please do your research and understand what you're taking, why you're taking, what the side effects of that can be, and look at any alternatives and perhaps try some alongside and see how you get on with those. This is all part of the greater awakening, because the alternatives normally don't have the side effects. That's something else to mention. If you're taking them and someone who is trained in alternative practices, they can help you find something that can heal you longer term, have no side effects, which is often a problem.
I agree. So there is so many people are waking up actually with all this. It can be, it's really about resignation.
Yeah.
It's enough. People are like, if they don't want just to be, just to follow. So, but it's going to be really fun. If people saw our video about the ascension, it's just completing with the Great Awakening.
It's part
right?
of it. Yes, it's all one and the same thing, really. Ascension is the sort of spiritual aspect of learning the truth about the reality that we live in. And they go hand in hand because one inevitably leads to the other. But you do have to break down the illusion of your life in many respects. And that it has to be heartfelt. That's the only way you can kind of ascend, in essence, is to learn what's going on, the truth. And you do that by the questioning and researching, as we've explained. And then as you learn, you also realize that we have to become more spiritual and all help each other. And we move away from all hating each other back into helping and sharing the truth, which is the light. And that's how we ascend.
Exactly. That's really great. Anything before we close on? Anything that you guys want to add, Katie?
Well, you just mentioned the word fun, and however traumatic the last year and a half has been for me, as I've sort of woken up. I may have been a little bit awake, but I've woken up, and it has felt like I've been completely rattled, and I have had physical reactions of shaking and things like this. But it's also been a lot of fun. I've been on protests. I've met some incredible people. I've met you guys as well. I've connected more with people around the world through different, less censored forms of social media. The chats I now have with people that are on a more or on a higher frequency, it just fills me with so much joy, and it's a very exciting journey as well. So I just wanted to reiterate that again. Like,
yes,
it goes hand in hand, to sort of figure out a lot of truths that are, not very nice. There's also so many wonderful things, and to learn that you can heal yourself as well is incredibly empowering, and then you can share that with the ones that you love, and it's a spiral to happiness and joy, but maybe we have to go through a bit of a dark night of the soul first. But it has and it continues to be, and is getting even more exciting now.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, it's a wonderful journey. You do have some initial shocks to get over, and they can be quite soul destroying in some respects. This is what we call the dark night of the soul, when you suddenly realize the truth you've been living isn't perhaps the truth of the truth. And then once you get over that initial shock, then you meet other people who've also been through it, and you start to reunite in a sort of, it's almost like meeting a new family. That's how I would describe it. You meet new people online and in your lives, and those who aren't coming with you on this journey, they naturally drop away, sort of, and you find new friends on higher levels of resonance to come with you on the journey. You meet your new family, and that is actually a wonderful thing as we go.
Yes,
I agree. And what we also find in this Great Awakening is a lot of love. You realize that there is a lot of people who can share love, light, and there is a lot of unity in what we are doing. And this is just great. Like you say, Caroline, there is people who's going to stay behind, but it's just natural. You don't need to make effort. It just happen.
Yeah, it is, because everyone has an individual journey to make, and we're not all going to do that all together at the same time. We all do it differently based on who we are, and that is absolutely fine. So you might find, for example, that you're learning new truths, but your family and friends aren't, and that's perfectly okay. You can share them, and you may find that some people kind of understand what you're saying and will come along with you, and some won't, and equally that is fine. It's each individual's journey, but eventually the ones that don't will start to pick up on the information, because it is out there now. It's in social media, it's coming through slowly but surely aspects of it in the papers and on TV, and people are starting to realise and talk to each other. So everyone's on their own journey, and that is absolutely fine. But equally, you have to go through it on your own, and what will happen will happen, and that's fine for you.
I agree, totally agree. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for following us. And if you like the video, just click the like below. And if you feel like someone needs to hear about it, don't be shy to share our video. Thank you very much. Thank you, Caroline and Katie, and
Thank
see
you,
you next
Beverley.
time.
Thank you.
Okay. Lots of love. Bye.
Bye. Lots of love.
Bye.
Bye.